Hello, and welcome back to the Really Fucking Brutal podcast.
It's about to get really fucking brutal.
Welcome to episode 3, where we're going to talk about things you need to look out for in a domestically violent relationship or relationship that you may think you're unsafe in and is progressing towards being domestically violent. The very first abusive relationship I got into at 15 years old, or 14 or 15 in high school. I was in grade 9, so some people call it freshman year, brand new to high school, and it wasn't necessarily my first boyfriend, but like my first serious boyfriend, and we ended up being together for nearly 3 years. And for the majority of those 3 years, I was stuck in a relationship with him that was abusive. The things he did and the way he treated me, I had to realize over those 3 years for the first time that those behaviors were unacceptable and not safe. So it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are, you have the possibility of always ending up in an abusive relationship, a relationship that's not good for you. So no matter who you are, I'm glad you're here and willing to listen and take the step to educate yourself on what these harmful behaviors look like, why they're unacceptable, and then how you can help yourself to receive support and escape those abusive relationships and situations. Okay, so there are obviously many different types of abuse. So from the hotline.org, which is a domestic violence resource page, they list every single type of abuse. So physical abuse and sexual abuse. I'm pretty sure we all can understand pretty well what those are, but I still would like to read the definitions. Physical abuse involves the use of physical violence or threats to hurt someone, threatening someone with physical violence, to maintain power over the individual. Because of this, survivors are afraid and uncertain when more abuse will occur. This often reinforces the regular use of other, more subtle types of abuse. Physical abuse does not just involve someone hitting you, it is the threat that they will hit you as well. Sexual abuse is when a partner controls the physical and sexual intimacy of the relationship. This often involves acting in a way that is non-consensual and forced upon the victim and survivor. If they do not outwardly, like if they do not say out loud, yes, the answer is no. It's not, I didn't hear no. If you didn't hear a fucking yes, it's a no. If someone coerces you or forces you or makes you feel like if you don't do something, you will be hurt and unsafe, that is sexual abuse. Emotional abuse, let's talk about that, includes non-physical behaviors that are meant to control, isolate, or frighten someone. These behaviors are often more subtle and hard to identify, but are just as serious as any other type of abuse. Financial or economic abuse occurs when an abusive partner extends their power and control into your financial situation. That means controlling how you make money, how much money you make, and how much money you then have in your possession, how that money is spent, etc. Digital abuse. This is extremely common, and although I'm no longer in an abusive relationship, I still experience digital abuse from my most recent ex daily. Digital abuse, also known as technology-facilitated abuse, is the use of technology and the internet to bully, harass, stalk, intimidate, or control your partner. This behavior is often a form of verbal or emotional abuse conducted online. If someone is talking poorly about you online, trying to take, break you down as a person, sharing private information online about you, where you are, anything, making fun of your appearance, not even using your name, but alluding to the fact that you are this and spreading lies online in order to tear you down. Constantly viewing your pages, indirectly harassing you by spreading hate without even using your name. I know I already mentioned sexual abuse, but sexual coercion is another type of abuse, and it lies on the continuum of sexually aggressive behavior. It can range from begging and persuasion to forced sexual contact. Even if your partner isn't forcing you to perform sexual acts without your consent, making you feel obligated to do so is still sexual coercion. Again, if you feel like you have to do something in order to satisfy someone else, in order to keep them from leaving, in order to mitigate the violence that can be brought on you, that is all sexual coercion. If you have to be forced, talked into, or made to feel like you have to do something else for someone in order to maintain safety, that's not okay. Reproductive coercion as well is a form of power and control where one partner strips another of their ability to control their own reproductive system. So this can look like forcibly getting someone pregnant, forcibly controlling how and what birth control methods someone chooses to use, forcing someone to not get an abortion or to get an abortion, manipulating someone's birth control. So poking holes in a condom, messing with someone's birth control pills, etc. And it's not uncommon for men or people who identify as men and have the power to get other individuals pregnant to, by means of controlling their victim, get them pregnant in order to feel like they are trapped, and then control whether or not they have access to an abortion should that be what they'd like to do. They're trying to trap you in what is also a lifelong change, a lifelong decision and responsibility. Stalking, something I'm extremely familiar with, even still to this day. Stalking occurs when someone watches, follows, or harasses you repeatedly. There's a pattern of this behavior, making you feel afraid or unsafe, and this may occur from someone you know, a past partner, or a stranger. And stalking can also be included in other types of abuse, right? We talked about, what was it back here? The digital abuse, how you can bully, harass, and stalk, intimidate someone online. Stalking is underneath that. This is one that I'm not too familiar with, but it does exist, and it's important to talk about all these different types. Spiritual abuse, which is a form of emotional and psychological abuse. It may involve an elder or faith leader inflicting abuse on members of the congregation, fostering a toxic culture through shame or control. However, it's important to recognize that spiritual abuse can extend beyond organized religious settings and occur within intimate relationships. Individuals of any belief system, irrespective of their religion, can experience spiritual abuse. So this can be forcing someone to believe in a religion, not believe in a religion, switch their belief systems, not allowing someone to exercise their religious rights, such as praying, fasting, attending religious ceremonies, lots of other examples. That is very real. It's also important to mention that mental health, drugs, and alcohol have a significant effect on how you are abused and how the person who abuses you does so. When drugs and alcohol are involved, emotions may be stronger than usual and change quickly and without any warning. Bad or unsafe situations developing further, including an abusive partner's escalation of force. So oftentimes when you're under the influence, you lack control over your motor skills. You don't know, you recognize how strong you are, how close you are to something, how your actions are affecting others. That is all exacerbated under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Especially if there is family history or even history from the individual who ends up hurting you. If there is a history of addiction anywhere in there among you or your partners, that's always a risk that could come back. Battling with addiction, challenging addiction, and being in recovery is a lifelong process. So just because someone may be clean for 1 to 5, 10, 30 years, it doesn't mean that they can't slip back. So I think it's important to talk about what is considered a warning sign when it comes to being in a relationship that's potentially abusive. So again, I'm reading from the Domestic Violence Hotline website, and they have listed, and I'm going to touch on each of these points as we go down, telling you that you never do anything right. Not even telling you explicitly, but their actions towards you, how they treat you, speak to you, makes you feel like you're not enough, you're not valued, you're not loved, and you can't do anything right. And sometimes they will tell you. When these people are abusing you, they have no shame at all. They are almost proud of how they're behaving and treating you and believe that there's a reason you deserve to experience what they're putting you through. They don't care to lift you up. They care about tearing you down. That's all. They don't have any morals at all. Another is showing extreme jealousy of your friends or time spent away from them, and preventing or discouraging you from spending time with others, particularly friends, family, or peers. Abusive individuals are masters of manipulation and want control over every aspect of your life. Not only will they try and control who you can see, when you can see them or talk to them, who you can be friends with, but whoever is in your life already, they will try and turn you against them. They will tell you lies. They will try and convince you that your friends and family are bad people, that you deserve better, that what they've done is horrible, more horrible than it really is. They will do whatever they can to try and break down whatever positive feelings you had towards these friends and family so that you eventually cut them off. And if you don't, they will gain control over how you can connect to these people to get them out of your life and to isolate you further. It's not because they want you all to themselves to be all lovey-dovey on you and they actually care about you. They want to eliminate whether or not people will be able to realize what you're going through, what you're being put through. They want to eliminate the risk of being viewed as the person they really are, an abusive piece of shit. If you have a great support system, if your friends and family are always around, you're always seeing them, they're going to catch on to that behavior. They're going to discourage you from continuing to stay. And that's exactly what this person does not want. So they're going to either convince you that these people do not belong in your life, or they will control whether or not these people can stay in your life. They list insulting, demeaning, or shaming. That can be anybody, right? But you, especially in front of other people. Again, these people have no morals and lack shame. They cannot see within themselves how their actions affect others. So they have no problem acting out and treating you the same as they do behind closed doors out in public. My most recent ex used to scream at me and belittle me on the side of the road and get other people passing by to agree with him. No shame. He wanted other people to agree, notice, feel the same way, and also continued to belittle me in the way he was. And sometimes it fucking worked. Walking down the street and saying, look at this fucking bitch, look at this blah blah, and getting other men to join in. Sick. And that's what's feeding your ego, is the fact that people are okay with that or don't say anything. Preventing you from making your own decisions, including about working, attending school, but also how you present yourself, again, who you talk to, every decision you make in your life, your access to the outside world, your access to your phone, what you post online and how you portray and carry yourself online, how you act in person. In each of my abusive relationships, I have lacked any and all control over my life. I had no ability to make my own decisions. I had no control over my life. Every decision was facilitated by the person who was abusing me, and that significantly in turn impacted my quality of life and mental health, because I couldn't do what I wanted for me, and the decisions being made on my behalf weren't even for my betterment and my well-being. It was whatever would benefit them. Controlling finances in the household without discussion, such as taking your money or refusing to provide money for necessary expenses. The majority of times I've been in relationships, I have been the breadwinner, the one who supports the household, and not always like because the other person, like I was just making more money than the other person. Sometimes I was self-sufficient. I had my money or I had a job, and this individual didn't, or they did, and they still chose to abuse my money that was rightfully mine, make any and all household expenses or expenses that should have been shared between the two of us, considering we might have shared a home. That was all put onto me. When I did have a job and was making money, he would take my funds or try and take my funds to convince me that we could be making a lot of money off of buying frickin' dad pens and selling them to fucking teenagers around London, Ontario. Yeah, babe, but if we spend $200 on these pens, then we'll make $230 back if I charge everybody, blah, blah. Are you fucking stupid? Why don't we just save the money and use it for what we actually fucking need while not committing crimes and making stupid decisions? This is why I manage your fucking business. This is why I manage your fucking SoundCloud career. Oh my god. Because you want to make $30 off of $200 spendings. What the? Even when it didn't come to household expenses or anything like that, if I wanted to buy something nice for myself, it wasn't even an option. It was selfish. It was not my right to spend my money on something that wasn't absolutely necessary. I never knew what it felt like to treat myself. On a similar note, in my last relationship, I was also controlled in having to manage my ex's shitty music career. I was his management. I was his content creation and management. I was planning everything. I managed his music career for the majority of our 1-year relationship, regardless of me wanting to or not. That was something I did, and had to do. I had no control over my time. How my time was spent being able to rest, work, or do what I had to do, or do what I wanted to do, was always in control and at the discretion of a partner. I did not have free will. Pressuring you to have sex or perform sexual acts you're not comfortable with. This has happened in every single one of the relationships I've been in. So that's talking about sexual coercion and sexual abuse. So regardless of whether, I said no, I had my boundaries in place, and they either sexually assault me by passing that boundary and doing whatever they wanted, or, feeling like I had to do certain things in order to maintain the relationship, get them to stay with me, to prohibit violence or a fight or endangering myself, I'd say yes or go along with it. But also, I had an ex of mine who was a sex addict, and I knew, and it was made aware that I had to have sex with him multiple times a day, or he would find it elsewhere. So then I feel responsible to serve him in order for him not to go cheat on me. You're saying I have to do this for you so that you respect me. And as well as if your partner is guilting you for not having sex, that's wrong. Your right person is not going to make you feel ashamed for expressing your bodily autonomy. They're not going to guilt you. They're not going to try and persuade you. They're going to respect that decision without questioning you, without anything. Just, yes, okay, I respect your decision. Move on. Because I don't think I've ever experienced that. It's always been an expectation, and when the guy wants it now, and that's how it's going to be. I've never found pleasure in sex because of that. I've been made to feel like it's my duty, it's my chore, that's what I'm meant for. Is that what I'm meant for? Am I meant to just be somebody that you lust over? Am I just here for you to experience pleasure? Why do I not have the choice? Why do you feel the need to take that choice away from me? And I think it's ironic that every relationship I've been in, each partner has been extremely aware of my past of being sexually abused as a child. And I've laid my boundaries down and said, this is not okay. I really don't like this. Don't do this when this, this is my story. And they're all so compassionate and understanding and sorry, and it's the worst thing they've ever heard. And then they go and rape you, and then they go and sexually assault you and do the exact same things in the exact same way that the people who hurt you as a child did. Oh, this is even better. When they tell you that someone sexually assaulted them and they know what it feels like and they would never do that to another person, and then they do it anyway. Oh, so you know what it feels like, and you still do it to other people. Oh, got it. You're fucked up. As well, similar to pressuring you to do sex or to have sex or perform sexual acts, any sort of pressure or trying to guilt you into doing something is wrong. Anytime they try and take control of the autonomy you have over your life, that's wrong, no matter how fucking simple it is. Okay? If they ever question your right to control any aspect of your life, wrong. Why? Literally, why? Wrong. Fuck you. Pressuring you to use drugs, alcohol, pressuring you to dress, behave a certain way, pressuring you to go do and say what or not do, say what, fuck off. Fuck off. What the fuck? Intimidating you through threatening looks or actions. So this is something that people can do in public that is discreet. You know, they may have a certain signal, you know, they squeeze your hand a certain amount of times, they look up and down, they, you know, shoot you a glare, they grab your leg around people to get you to quit it out. Anything like that to intimidate in an attempt to control you, anything like that is not okay. You are still trying to maintain control in the most discreet way. Don't be a fucking wiener and fucking say it out loud. Don't be a fucking bitch. Huh? Any insults or threats of any manner is abuse. Threatening to take your kids away, threatening to spread secrets, lies about you, threatening to share photos and videos of you that are explicit, threatening to ruin your job, your reputation, threatening to do anything or intimidating you with these threats is all in an attempt to gain control over your life. That is the key in any abusive situationship, is they want 100% of the power. They need 100% of the power and the control. There's no fixing that. There's no fixing that. I strongly believe that people who hurt others and abuse others in relationships have no hope of ever changing. There's something chemically wrong in your brain, because your average person doesn't come out and walk into this life behaving that way. In what world is it normal for any of these behaviors to be regular, to be shown, to be demonstrated, to be anything? In what world is that behavior normal? Someone either taught you that that was normal, someone didn't teach you fucking anything, or you have fucking brain damage. Intimidating you with weapons like guns, knives, bats, mace, and destroying your belongings or home. It doesn't matter if they don't have said weapon, if they never actually take out the weapon and, you know, threaten you with it in their hand. Intimidating and threatening you that they will do that and they want to hurt you, they will attempt to end your life, or you better watch out, you know, karma's a bitch, any of that, like, I'm going to come for you, you know, I got the guns in the back, you know, I'm my gun license, again, is an attempt to control your behavior to serve them. If you don't stop this right now, I'm going to do whatever I possibly can to gain the control I'm trying to get. I think another telltale sign that you're in a bad situation in relationship is how your partner treats women, minorities, people with disabilities, homeless people, people of addiction, how they treat people who genuinely struggle or have less rights in this world can tell you a lot about their morals and their beliefs. Most of my exes hated women. And it wasn't like explicit at first, but genuinely hate women. Hate the women on the radio. Will talk down about any woman on TV, any woman's music, just because they're a woman. Not because they actually don't like their work or, you know, don't like them for a specific reason. It's because they're a woman, because they're successful, and because obviously, a woman being successful and in power is threatening to them. And it doesn't even have to be women. My ex would simply hate on anyone or anything that I liked. I remember once I commented that Roddy Ricch had beautiful eyes. Have you seen Roddy Ricch's eyes? They are fucking beautiful. Doesn't mean want to fuck him. Just means he has beautiful fucking eyes. Yeah, well, for the next year, that was used against me. Oh, why don't you just go fuck him then? He's got such beautiful eyes. What about me? Oh, you Roddy Ricch. Couldn't listen to Roddy Ricch. Couldn't listen to Glorilla. I couldn't listen to any female artist. I couldn't say anything positive about anyone or anything if I wanted it to remain in my life. If I liked a song a lot, couldn't say it. Or I would never be able to listen to that song again. The need for control was so intense and stupid that I didn't have control over what music I could listen to, what movies I could watch, what shows I could watch, what I posted. I posted a flashback of a Christmas tree from when I was in Disneyland. Wrong. Couldn't post that because then people are going to think I'm in Disneyland right now with some other guy that I must be fucking. Make it make sense. These people are so insecure. And the only way they can lift themselves up is by bringing other people down. They are so utterly fucking miserable. They will continue to use everything against you for the rest of your life. Your mental health will be used against you. Oh, you're crazy. She's just a crazy bitch. Don't listen to her. She must be having like a fucking like blah, 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 blah. Did you take your meds today? Oh, you're crazy fucking bitch. Oh, and you only now talk about how important mental health is when it comes to you or when it comes to your friends. If the only time you can stick up for people, do the right thing, feel any sort of empathy is when it directly has impacted you or is impacting you, that's not fucking real. You don't need to experience assault, war, anything in order to feel empathy for those kinds of people and the people that have been through that shit. If you only care to talk so boldly about mental health awareness when it comes to you and your friends, but fuck women's mental health, fucked LGBTQ people's mental health, fuck people of color's mental health, except for your friends that are a part of those communities, that's not authentic at all. If the only time you care about people is when it serves you, directly impacts you, or the people in your life, that is a facade, and that is bullshit. You are creating a facade for the public in order to garner attention, lift yourself up, and boost your ego. That is why. And that is the only reason why. You actually will never be able to understand how to empathize with people. You will never be capable of that. Ever. These people will never truly understand because the purpose of their actions and the way they choose to live is self-serving. They only care about themselves and always, only, ever will. Now that we've talked about a lot of the warning signs, and I'm sure I could have talked about a lot more, I want you to know that it doesn't take, years of abuse. It doesn't take reporting. It doesn't take speaking about it for you to be believed, for your experiences to be validated and real. You don't have to report it in order to be believed. You don't have to have proof in order to be believed. Your experience is enough. And regardless of whether something happened one time or it happened a billion times, regardless of whether you stayed or were trapped for 2 months or 2 years or 20 years, you don't need to have your experience validated by anyone else. First and foremost, what happened to you is what happened to you at the end of the day, and no one can tell you that it didn't happen. If you're hurting, no one has the right to say that it didn't fucking hurt. There's no way for us to measure what's hurt someone and how much it's hurt someone. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Please. You don't deserve to doubt what you went through. You don't deserve to draw on and on about how it might have, it was my fault. It wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. And I need you to know that. Because I wish someone told me that. It wasn't my fault. I didn't need anybody to judge me or question me. I just needed someone to let me know they heard me, they saw me, and they're there for me. That's it. I don't need questioning. I don't need judgment. And I don't need to be berated in order to be believed. My experience is my experience for a reason. And your experience is your experience for a reason. And I want you to know that help is out there if you need it. Support is out there. These difficult situations, relationships, and times are not forever. You may feel trapped, but you are not. And the control that people are trying to take away from you, they can never gain. And the reason people try and tear you down is because you're already above them. I love you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
It's about to get really fucking brutal.